There comes a moment in every person's life when the truth hits harder than failure itself. The realization that success is not controlled by luck, by circumstances, or by other people, but by the invisible force living inside your own mind. Listen carefully, because this is where everything changes. Your mind is not just a tool. It is a battlefield. And every single day, whether you realize it or not, a war is being fought within you. On one side stands fear, doubt, procrastination, the voice that whispers, "You can't." On the other side stands belief, discipline, vision, the voice that says, "You must." The question is simple. Which side are you feeding? Science has proven something extraordinary. Your brain is not fixed. It is not permanent. It is constantly changing, constantly adapting, constantly reshaping itself based on your thoughts. This is called neuroplasticity, and it means one powerful thing. You can train your mind to win, but here's the harsh truth most people avoid. Your mind has already been trained, just not by you. It has been trained by your environment, by your past failures, by the opinions of others, by the comfort of staying the same, and if you do not take control, it will continue to train itself in the direction of mediocrity. Look at your life right now. The results you see, the income you earn, the confidence you carry, the risks you take or avoid, they are not accidents. They are reflections of your dominant thoughts. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your conditioning. So if you want success, real success, lasting success, you must begin with the source of everything, your mind. Every great achievement in history began as a single thought, a decision, a belief that refused to surrender. And yet most people treat their thoughts like background noise, something random, something uncontrollable. And that is where they lose. Winners think differently, not because they are born different, but because they decide to become different. They understand that thoughts are seeds, and whatever seeds you plant daily will grow into your reality. If you plant doubt, you will harvest fear. If you plant excuses, you will harvest failure. But if you plant belief, discipline, and relentless focus, you will harvest success. This is not motivation. This is law. Your brain follows patterns. It strengthens what you repeat. Every time you think a thought, you make it stronger. Every time you act on it, you make it permanent. So when you tell yourself, "I am not good enough," your brain listens. When you say, "I'll do it later," your brain obeys. And when you believe, "I will win no matter what," your brain begins to search for ways to make it true. This is why daily training is not optional. It is essential. You don't train your mind once and succeed forever. You train it every single day, just like a muscle. Miss one day, and nothing seems to change. Miss a week, and you feel weaker. Miss a month, and you become someone else entirely. The difference between winners and losers is not intelligence. It is not talent. It is not even opportunity. It is discipline of thought. Winners guard their minds like a fortress. They do not allow negativity to enter without resistance. They do not entertain excuses. They do not negotiate with doubt. Instead, they program themselves daily. They wake up with intention. They feed their mind with powerful ideas. They visualize success before it happens. They act even when they don't feel like it. And slowly, silently, powerfully, their mind transforms. Imagine waking up every day with clarity, with focus, with unstoppable drive. Imagine your thoughts pushing you forward instead of holding you back. Imagine becoming the kind of person who does not wait for motivation, but creates it. That is what it means to train your mind to win. And it begins with a decision, a simple but powerful decision. From this moment forward, you will no longer be a victim of your thoughts. You will become their master, because the moment you take control of your mind is the moment you take control of your life. And this is only the beginning. Now that you understand the battlefield of the mind, you must understand something even more critical. Control does not happen by accident. It happens through repetition, structure, and deliberate mental conditioning. The average person allows their mind to wander aimlessly from one thought to another. They wake up, check their phone, consume information, react to notifications, and move through the day without direction. Their thoughts are not chosen. They are inherited, and that is why their results remain the same. But the person who wins, the person who rises above the rest, does something different. They take ownership of their mental environment. They decide what enters their mind and what stays out. Science confirms that your brain strengthens the neural pathways you use most frequently. This means the more you think certain thoughts, the easier those thoughts become to access. Over time, those thoughts become automatic. If you repeatedly think about fear, your brain becomes wired for fear. If you repeatedly think about success, your brain becomes wired for success. This is not philosophy. This is biology. So ask yourself honestly, what have you been practicing mentally? Have you been rehearsing failure in your mind, imagining worst-case scenarios, talking yourself out of opportunities before even trying? Or have you been rehearsing victory, visualizing yourself achieving your goals, seeing yourself disciplined, focused, and confident? Because whatever you rehearse internally, you will eventually express externally. This is where most people fail without realizing it. They want success, but their internal dialogue contradicts their desires. They say they want growth, but their thoughts are filled with hesitation. They claim they want change, but their habits remain comfortable. The mind does not respond to words alone, it responds to patterns. To train your mind to win, you must install new patterns. One of the most powerful patterns is intentional focus. The ability to direct your attention toward what matters and away from what does not. Your attention is your most valuable currency. Wherever it goes, your energy follows, and wherever your energy goes, your results begin to form. If you constantly focus on distractions, your progress will be fragmented. If you focus on purpose, your progress will become powerful. Winners are not those who never get distracted. They are those who consistently return their focus to what matters. Another critical pattern is self-talk. The conversation you have with yourself determines your confidence, your resilience, and your willingness to act. If your inner voice is weak, your actions will be weak. If your inner voice is strong, your actions will follow. Replace "I can't" with "I am learning how." Replace "this is too hard" with "this requires growth." Replace "what if I fail" with "what if I succeed." These are not empty phrases. They are rewiring statements. Each one shifts your brain away from limitation and toward possibility. And repetition is the key. You cannot think a powerful thought once and expect transformation. You must repeat it until it becomes your identity. Identity is where real change happens. When you begin to see yourself as a disciplined person, you act like one. When you begin to see yourself as a focused person, as distractions lose their power. When you begin to see yourself as a winner, your decisions begin to align with that belief. This is how transformation occurs. Not through sudden breakthroughs alone, but through consistent mental conditioning. And there is one more truth you must accept. Your environment will either strengthen your mind or weaken it. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, all of these influence your thinking patterns. If you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, and limitation, your mind will absorb those patterns. But if you expose yourself to growth, discipline, ambition, and knowledge, your mind will expand. Choose your inputs wisely because your mind is always listening, even when you are not paying attention. From this point forward, you must treat your mind as something sacred, something valuable, something worth protecting and developing daily. Do not leave it idle. Do not allow random thoughts to dictate your future. Instead, guide it, train it, strengthen it. Because the moment you begin to control your mental patterns, you begin to control your outcomes. And once control becomes consistent, success becomes inevitable. If you want to truly train your mind to win, you must understand one undeniable principle. Your mind requires direction under pressure. It is easy to feel focused when conditions are perfect. It is easy to feel motivated when things are going your way. But real mental strength is revealed when challenges appear, when doubt rises, when obstacles stand in your path. At that moment, the untrained mind collapses, but the trained mind responds differently. It does not panic. It does not retreat. It does not negotiate with fear. Instead, it executes. This ability to act despite discomfort is the foundation of success, and it is built through consistent mental discipline. Science shows that when you repeatedly expose yourself to challenging situations, your brain adapts. It strengthens neural circuits associated with resilience, decision-making, and emotional control. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes manageable, and what once felt impossible becomes routine. This is why winners seek discomfort intentionally. They understand that growth does not occur in the absence of struggle. It occurs because of it. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are training your brain to prioritize long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. Every time you push through resistance, you are strengthening your willpower. And willpower, like a muscle, grows with use. But there is a critical mistake many people make. They wait to feel ready before they act. They wait for motivation to arrive. They wait for confidence to appear. This is backward. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. When you take action, even in small steps, your brain releases chemicals that reinforce progress. This creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Confidence then fuels further action. This is the cycle of winning. Action, momentum, confidence, more action. The key is to break the cycle of inaction, because inaction creates the opposite effect. Inaction, doubt, fear, more inaction. So the question is not whether you feel ready. The question is whether you are willing to act before you feel ready. Winners do not wait for perfect conditions. They create progress under imperfect conditions. They understand that clarity comes from doing, not from thinking endlessly. Another essential element of mental training is emotional control. Your emotions are powerful. They can either support your success or sabotage it. If you allow emotions to dictate your decisions, you will become inconsistent. But if you learn to observe your emotions without being controlled by them, you gain power. Think of emotions as signals, not commands. Fear may signal uncertainty, but it does not mean stop. Stress may signal pressure, but it does not mean quit. Discomfort may signal growth, but it does not mean retreat. The trained mind acknowledges emotions, but does not obey them blindly. Instead, it responds with logic, purpose, and discipline. This is where separation occurs between those who achieve and those who struggle. Most people act based on how they feel in the moment. Winners act based on what they committed to beforehand. They rely on principles, not impulses. They set standards for themselves and follow them regardless of mood. This is not easy at first. The mind resists discipline because it prefers comfort. But resistance weakens over time when you consistently choose action over avoidance. Each time you override hesitation, you strengthen mental authority. Each time you follow through on a commitment, you reinforce self-trust. And self-trust is one of the most powerful forces in success. When you trust yourself, hesitation disappears. When you trust yourself, decisions become faster. When you trust yourself, confidence becomes natural. This trust is built through repetition of kept promises. Start small if you must. Wake up when you said you would. Complete tasks you committed to. Show up even when you do not feel like it. Every small victory strengthens your identity. And identity drives behavior. Over time, you will notice something remarkable. The things that once required effort will begin to feel automatic. That is when you know your mind is being trained at a deeper level, because true mastery is not about forcing yourself every day. It is about becoming the kind of person who naturally chooses the right actions. At that stage, discipline is no longer a struggle. It becomes who you are. And when discipline becomes identity, success becomes inevitable. This is the hidden power of mental training. Not just changing what you do, but transforming who you are. And as you continue forward, you must remember this. Every decision you make today is shaping the mind you will have tomorrow. Choose wisely. At this stage, you must confront a deeper truth. The mind you are building is either aligned with your future success or quietly working against it. There is no neutral ground. Every habit you repeat, every thought you entertain, every reaction you allow is either strengthening your winning identity or reinforcing limitations. And the difference is subtle at first, but powerful over time. The human brain thrives on efficiency. It seeks to automate repeated behaviors to conserve energy. This is why habits form. Once a pattern is repeated enough times, the brain encodes it as automatic behavior. This is both a blessing and a danger. If you train your mind with discipline, focus, and positive thinking, those patterns become automatic. But if you allow procrastination, self-doubt, and distraction to dominate, those patterns become automatic as well. So the question becomes, what are you automating? Winners are intentional about their routines because they understand that routines shape identity. They design their day with purpose. They protect their mornings. They control their inputs. They create structure where others allow chaos. Because structure leads to consistency, and consistency leads to mastery. One of the most powerful ways to train your mind is through visualization. When you consistently imagine yourself achieving a goal, your brain begins to activate similar neural pathways as it would during the actual experience. This strengthens familiarity, and familiarity reduces resistance. Athletes use this principle. High performers use this principle. Successful individuals across every field use this principle. They see the outcome before it happens. Repeatedly, with clarity and emotion. This is not wishful thinking. This is mental rehearsal. When you visualize success, you are programming your brain to recognize opportunities aligned with that outcome. You begin to notice possibilities you previously ignored. You become more alert, more aware, more prepared. Your mind starts to align with your vision. But visualization alone is not enough. It must be combined with action. A trained mind does not just imagine success. It moves toward it. It takes the vision and translates it into daily effort. Another critical element is consistency under pressure. Anyone can perform when conditions are easy, but true strength is proven when discipline is required. There will be days when motivation is low. There will be moments when obstacles feel overwhelming. There will be times when progress seems slow or invisible. In those moments, most people quit. But the trained mind understands something essential. Progress is not always visible in the moment. Growth often happens beneath the surface before it becomes observable. Just like a seed does not become a tree overnight, your efforts accumulate before results appear. This is where patience becomes a strategic advantage. You must trust the process even when you cannot see immediate results. Continue showing up. Continue executing. Continue reinforcing the habits that align with your goals. Because consistency compounds, small actions repeated daily produce massive results over time. And while others give up in the early stages due to impatience, those who persist begin to separate themselves from the average. Another important principle is mental clarity. A cluttered mind leads to scattered actions. A clear mind leads to focused execution. To maintain clarity, you must eliminate unnecessary mental noise. This includes overthinking, excessive consumption of unproductive information, and dwelling on things outside your control. Focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, your discipline. Everything else is secondary. Winners simplify their focus. They define their priorities and eliminate distractions that interfere with those priorities. They do not try to do everything. They focus on doing the right things consistently. And that focus becomes their advantage. Because while others are distracted, they are progressing. While others are reacting, they are building. While others are consuming, they are creating. This difference may seem small in a single day, but over weeks, months, and years, it becomes the defining gap between success and stagnation. So as you continue to train your mind, remember this: your daily environment, your daily habits, and your daily focus are shaping your future identity. Guard them carefully, because what you repeat daily, you become permanently, and once your mind is aligned with discipline, clarity, and purpose, you are no longer hoping for success. You are becoming it. Now you stand at a decisive point. Everything you have heard up to this moment is not meant to inspire you temporarily. It is meant to transform the way you live permanently. Because understanding is not enough. Knowledge without application is wasted potential. And the mind you are building will only become powerful if you put it into action every single day. Let this truth settle deeply within you. Your future is not being shaped by what you intend to do someday. It is being shaped by what you consistently do today. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who remain stuck is not found in talent, not in intelligence, not in opportunity. It is found in daily mental discipline. You must now take responsibility for the direction of your thoughts. You must become aware of the moments when your mind begins to drift into doubt, excuses, or distraction, and consciously redirect it toward purpose, clarity, and action. This is not a one-time effort. It is a lifelong practice. Winners are not individuals who never struggle mentally. They are individuals who refuse to stay in a weak mental state. They correct themselves quickly. They refocus faster. They act despite uncertainty. And through repetition, they build an internal standard that does not tolerate mediocrity. At this level, success becomes less about external circumstances and more about internal alignment. When your thoughts, beliefs, habits, and actions are aligned with your goals, progress becomes natural. You no longer fight yourself. You move with direction. You operate with clarity, and your decisions begin to reflect the identity of someone who succeeds consistently. But this requires commitment. Not occasional effort, not temporary motivation, but daily intentional training of the mind. Every morning you wake up is an opportunity to reinforce who you are becoming. Every thought you choose is a vote for the person you are building. Every action you take is a brick in the foundation of your future. If you choose discipline, you strengthen your mind. If you choose focus, you sharpen your awareness. If you choose persistence, you expand your limits. And over time, these choices compound into a life that reflects strength, control, and achievement. Do not underestimate the power of small, consistent improvements. A single disciplined day may seem insignificant, but repeated over weeks and months, it becomes transformation. The mind responds to repetition. It adapts to consistency. It grows through challenge. And it stabilizes through structure. So build your structure. Protect your focus. Guard your thoughts. And commit to the process even when it feels slow. Because the early stages of mental training are often the most difficult, but they are also the most important. This is where your identity is being rewritten. This is where your habits are being formed. This is where your future is being decided. And once the mind is trained, once discipline becomes natural, once focus becomes automatic, you will realize something powerful. You are no longer chasing success. You have become the kind of person who attracts it, not by chance, not by luck, but by design. Because a trained mind does not wait for opportunities. It creates them. A trained mind does not react to life. It directs it. And a trained mind does not hope for victory. It expects it and prepares for it every single day. This is the final truth you must carry forward. Train your mind relentlessly. Feed it with purpose. Guide it with discipline. And align it with your highest vision. Because once your mind is fully under your control, there is no limit to what you can achieve.